Good morning, Washington. It's the 11th of January, 2011, and now this.
Radio has entered the space age. It travels with astronauts. Man will communicate with the stars, and radio will be there. Radio, the mobile medium, is everywhere. On our 40th anniversary, WMAL Radio salutes our community with a pledge of continued service and quality. This has been Bill Trumbull, reminding you that there's more to come, 24 hours a day on WMAL Radio 63. Wait a minute. That's no way to sign off a radio program.
Until the next time when possibly you all may tune in again.
Ah, that's better. That's the way.
The old maestro always in your yowza, yowza, yowza. Au revoir. This is James Birdie, ladies and gentlemen, and all the land. Wishing you a bit of pleasant business. May good luck and happiness, success, good health, attend your team. And don't forget, should you ever send in your request, why, no trouble to do our best, Yeltsin. Au revoir, upon cheerio, a bit of a tweet. God bless you. Bless.
The late, great Bill Trumbull there here on DCR-TV. Listen to this one.
We living in a city of songs. Sing along and be a believer. Start your morning with a ditty or song. A little music with your heart and weaver. There's only time for time. We're on the city, on the time. Radio 63. We're on in
And this.
This seal of good practice identifies WMAL TV as a subscriber to the...
Okay, that's TV one. Anyhow, that was Bill, Bill Trumbull. Bill Trumbull. They're on WMAL. I don't have a date on that thing we played first there. But that was Bill Trumbull. I met Bill at a Washington Quarter Century Broadcasters dinner back in 2006. Really nice guy. This is back when WMAL was a great radio station, okay? I don't think too many people are going to call WMAL in its current form a great radio station, okay? The morning shows, then they got the screaming Yahoo there in the late mornings, and then they plug into the satellite for the rest of the day and the rest of the night. Back in the 60s and 70s and into the 80s and even into the 90s, WMAL was a full-service radio station. It was, it did everything. It was news, traffic, weather, music, personalities, chat. None of this bombastic screaming and yelling and anything like that. It was just a nice radio station. You don't find a lot of radio stations like that anymore. In fact, they're very few and far between, if any. But back then, there was, the full-service station, the station that your parents, when you were a kid, just listened to. Whenever Dad and Mom got in the car, they put on that station. Now, when I was a kid, we grew up in the Philadelphia area, and it was WCAU Radio 121, 1210 on the AM dial, that my parents just had on all the time. And, it was just news and talk. I don't think WCAU ever played music, at least in the 60s when my parents listened to it. But MAL, WBAL in Baltimore, even up through the 70s and 80s were playing music. They had Felix Grant's jazz show there on at night on WMAL. And during the day, Hardin and Weaver, they'd have a little skit and do the news and chat, and then they'd play a tune. And that's the way the shows were on WMAL back then. And, it gradually evolved more and more into talk, as they got into the 80s and 90s. And then eventually, it became the righty talker that it now is. But, Bill Trumbull, a great guy, passed away yesterday, 77 years old. And as John Matthews over there at WMAL, he's the news director, said about Bill Trumbull, nobody ever had a bad word to say about Bill. He was loved by everybody. He's one of those guys like Johnny Holiday. Everybody loves Johnny Holiday. Everybody loves Bill Trumbull. Everybody loves, these Ed Walker. I mean, nobody's ever talked bad about Ed Walker or Willard Scott. There's a generation of these radio guys that it was a different era back then, I think, when, they were just respected. They didn't pit people up against each other and scream and yell and call people names like certain people on WMAL do today and politicize everything. And, I guess, that era of radio is gone for good. And, like Jack Benny. Wow. So a tip of the old camo cap this morning to Bill Trumbull, a true gentleman broadcaster and a great guy. He worked there at WMAL for 30 plus years, almost 40 years, and was paired with Chris Core in the afternoons doing the, what do they call it? The Trumbull and Core show. Da-da! I pulled up a couple of graphics here, WMAL. I just look, again, a lot of my stuff's all filed crazy, but, here's some things. Here's a WMAL graphic. I'm not quite sure what year. This is probably from the 90s, right? This is probably from somewhere toward the end of Bill Trumbull's career. But there you see, there's the station. What do they got? Okay, this is Hardin and Weaver. Hardin, Brandt, and Parks doing the morning show. And then you had Paul Harvey there, and you had Trumbull and Core doing the afternoon drive. And, oh, look, they even had Rush. Okay, this had to have been the 90s. Yeah, there's Rush Limbaugh now. He's on the station. Noon to 2, and then Chris Core, I guess, we're on from like 2 to 6 or 2 to 7. Ken Beatrice there, 7 to 10. So this is probably early 90s. Early to mid-ish, because Bill left the station and retired in the 94, I guess it was. 96. 94, 96, something like that. I'll check I'll have to read it on my website and find that out. Here's some other WMAL memories, WMAL TV memories. There's a good one. Remember that? Remember when the Redskins were on WMAL? There's Sam Huff, Frank Herzog, and Sonny Jurgensen. Still a lot of people want Frank Herzog back on the show. And I think I got another one of Bill over here in a second. Let me flip through these. They were looking at some interesting WMAL graphics. And many of these graphics, of course, are on DCR TV Plus. So, go there. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is what I featured on the website this morning, and there's Bill Trumbull there. This is the air staff, approximately somewhere in the early 80s. There's Chris Core. Is that Ed Walker? Gosh, it looks like him. I'm not. I don't. Did Ed work at WMAL? I don't know. Probably. Hardin and Weaver on the back there. There's Mr. Beautiful. And some of the other folks. Some of the, Bill. Is that Bill Mayhew back there? Yeah. Tom Gager. Sorry, Tom, I couldn't remember Mr. Beautiful's name. Tom Gager. Is that Ken Beatrice? I don't know. I'm probably wrong. Is that Felix Grant? Felix Grant. Okay, so that's the main WMAL air staff in 1980-ish. So there we go. So tip of the old camo cap today to the late great, out of focus again, Bill. I keep saying the wonderful Bill Trumbull. One of those names you always misspell. Bill Trumbull. Bill Trumbull. So anyhow, great guy there, and lost a couple great broadcasters lately, Ron Smith and Bill Trumbull. So there. Anyhow, what's other big news? The other big news today, remember Frank Hanrahan, a voice over there at WTOP doing sports? Well, he's one of the latest jumpers to WNEW, so they're really getting quite an interesting air staff over there. We just told you also that Lisa Baden is moving over to WNEW, so I guess she won't be heard on WMAL anymore. Interesting thing, the Washington Post, it just is an incredibly inept newspaper these days. Anyhow, the reliable source, Rewrite Gals, They did a little piece down here today. I don't know if you want to read that. Basically, it says that, Paul Farhi has learned that Lisa Baden is returning to the airwaves next week to be on WNEW. Returning to the airwaves. She never left. I mean, she was on WTOP. She left WTOP a year ago, but she's always been on Channel 7, and she was on WMAL from June up through now. So, I mean, how's she returning to the airwaves when she never left? I don't know. And then they quote Paul Farhi here as, like he investigative journalized it. I mean, he got the damn press release like everybody else did yesterday. What an idiot. And then Paul Farhi gets on there today. Not a bad little obit there on Bill Trumbull, but, he talks about Chris Core, who now works at WTOP at 10:50 a.m. I mean, come on. 10:50 a.m.? I mean, if you turn on 10:50 a.m. in Washington, you're going to get La Mera Mera, some Spanish-Mexican station. Man, the Post is bad and getting worse by the minute. All right, folks. We'll have some more Bill Trumbull memories up on DCR TV in the next few days as people write in and share their thoughts about a great broadcaster. Thanks for watching Dave TV for the 11th of January 2012. So there.